Alright, so I wanted to talk about this question on the homework. Is that 4.1, 4.2? The very end. Right here we actually have two different questions going on. So the first one is write an equation for the line that goes through these 2 points. Period. That's the first question. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to screenshot this and we'll work through this real quick. And then we'll come back and we'll solve the system of equations, the second problem. Okay, so write an equation for the line that goes through these 2 points. So once you have 2 points, you have a line, right? So we can graph this if we feel like it. Right, so we have 4, -2, and -4, 4. So let's come out here, 4, -2, and -4, -4. So when we connect these points, we get a line. Can't get that just right, but just do it like that. There we go. So here's our line. Remember, the equation of a line looks like this. Y equals mx plus b, where m is our slope and b is our vertical shift. So whether it starts at the origin, if b is positive, it'll be up from the origin. B is negative is down from the origin. So this line right here that we got, b is going to be negative. So we're going to have something like y equals some slope times x minus some value. Looks like it's going to be between -4 and -2. So that's just something we want to think about while we're solving. But since we have these 2 points, 4, -2, and -4, 4, we can find the slope. So you can either use your slope formula or you can just look at your rise over your run. If you have a grid, it's a little easier to see. You can count it up if you have a grid. So from left to right, remember, the point that's further to the left is your first point, so x1, y1. And our point further to the right is our x2, y2. So we can either plug these into the formula or we can count up. Let's just plug it in the formula for you. We get -2 minus -4. That's our y2 minus our y1. And then our x2 minus our x1. This gives us -2 plus 4, so we have a +2. And then -4 minus -4 is 4 plus 4, so 8. This will reduce to 1/4. So, already, we found our slope. I'm going to write y is equal to 1/4 x. Now, if you actually graphed this equation, it would be the same as this line that we drew. But it would go through the center, the origin, because we have no b value, right? B would be equal to 0, so it would be right there. But ours is down 3, or down a certain amount. I don't know yet what it is, but it's down. So we're going to have a -b. We'll delete that. So just keeping that in mind while we work through this problem. So all we need to do now is plug in our points. Either point, doesn't matter, right? Because like we saw with the quiz and everything we reviewed before the quiz, if you have this, you need some value. We don't know what it is yet, but when we plug in one of these points, it should hold true. So let's just plug in that first one. So -2, because that's our y, is equal to 1/4 times 4, but -2 is not equal to 4/4, right? That's where plus b comes into hand. So what's the value of b? We know 4/4 is equal to 1, so we'll subtract 1 from each side. And we get -3 is equal to b. So it was down 3. Cool. So take this, plug it back in here. There you go. That's the equation of that line. Positive slope, we can see from left to right it's going up. And we can tell that it doesn't pass through the origin, but rather it's shifted 3 units down. Cool. Now the second problem. Solve the system of equations. So I'll post this down here. There's an example there for you if you want to use that. Okay, so we can use substitution or elimination, but substitution's in the example used, so we'll just use substitution. So if y is equal to -6x minus 3, and we have an equation here where we have a y, all we have to do is take this and plug it in here. So it's -6x minus 3 is equal to -x plus 2. Right, because this whole thing's equal to y, and this whole thing's equal to y. So they should be equal. So we're trying to find the value of x. This will help us solve the system of equations. So let's add 6x to both sides. And then let's subtract 2 from both sides. Divide by 5. X is equal to -1. So we'll use this. For either of these. Looks like the bottom one will be easier to use, right? Right here, plug x in for this. So y is equal to -x. So understand, this negative is not a part of this negative. We have -x. This is just x. So we have a -1 plus 2. Right? And if you subtract a negative, you're actually dealing with a positive number. So we have 1 plus 2. So y is equal to 3. So the solution would be -1, 3. I'd like to show you real quick what it means to have a system of equations and have a solution. So I'm going to write these out real quick. Hopefully it'll be legible enough. And we're going to graph it. -6x minus 3. And y is equal to -x plus 2. See if they'll grab both of these. Cool. So, these are the two lines, right? These are two equations that make lines. And you'll notice, right, boom, right there. That coordinate is your solution. It's where the two equations, or the two lines, cross over. You have a solution.